It is the most difficult, the most challenging part of the Pantanal. Leda Farm. You should take responsibility. If not, who will? At the Puerto Olimpo workshop in Paraguay, True Father told the Japanese national messiahs that they will be sent to the most difficult area of Pantanal, and thus the Leda pioneering began. At that time, Leda was deserted, covered in weeds and wild forest. Time went by, and 15 years have passed since the pioneers first landed in Leda. Ever since Father's Seonghwa ceremony, MBC, a Korean TV company, has been working on a series of documentary films introducing the achievements Father has made in his lifetime. For part 3 of the series, MBC decided to focus on the Providence in North and South America. In South America, the activities of Leda, here in Paraguay, have been chosen to be introduced, along with the activities in Brazil and Uruguay. In late April, the Leda farm was busy in preparation for the second fish releasing ceremony of artificially incubated pacu fish. Professor Magno of Asuncion University Fisheries Science Department, who has been in full-scale cooperation with our pacu farming project, arrived in Leda a few days prior to the ceremony to perform a careful examination of the growth conditions of the pacu fish awaiting their release. During the afternoon of April 23, 2014, the joint filming crews of MBC and Peace TV arrived in Leda after their trip to Brazil and Uruguay. The TV crew got down to their work right away the next morning. The number of pacu farming ponds has increased from 11 to 15 since last year. The ponds equal a total size of 5 hectares altogether and are currently raising 6,000 mature and 30,000 young pacus. Our primary goal is to enlarge the ponds to 50 hectares and raise 10,000 mature pacus, which will come to weigh about 200 tons by the year 2020. President Kim of Peace TV and the other crews were so impressed at the pacu growing more than 2 kilograms in just 2 years. Mr. Nakata, the chief of the Leda farm, told us in his interview about the significance of the farming project in the Chaco region, which had been abandoned for years because of its severe environment. We want to continue further investigation of this land so that in the near future, this can become the most major industry in this region. Next is the introduction of the taro potato plantation in Leda's experimental farm. Numerous experiments have been performed in Leda in pursuit of finding crops that would match its soil, but ended in failure due to furious attacks by wild birds and insects. The taro potato, which is a root vegetable, does not get harmed by these obstacles. This is a parent potato. This is an offspring potato, and it grows like this. Within half a year to 1 year, these parent and 2 generations of offspring potatoes can reproduce twice a year. To grow the taro potato, all you need to do is simply put the roots in a paddy field, and it can be harvested all year round. It is therefore a truly ideal crop for wetlands like Pantanal. The amount of harvest is enormous. The crop itself is very good, full of nutrition, and no part is wasted. The crew then moved on to observing the cattle ranching project. Cattle are usually released into the ranch located in a deeper remote area, but today the cattle were collected into a bullpen or corral to receive their periodic vaccination and application of insecticide, which is mandatory by the government. Mr. Sano, The head of the ranching project, with his steady and continuous management, succeeded in increasing the number of cattle from last year's 750 to current total of over 1,000. After their checkup, cattle are led by the cowboys and returned to the ranch where they came from. On the 25th of April, finally, the day has arrived for the second releasing ceremony of Pacu fish. Preparation for the releasing began early in the morning by collecting 20,000 Pacu fish using fishing nets. Pacu fish grew a lot bigger this time compared to the ones in the previous releasing ceremony. At the releasing point prepared near the runway, Professor Magno took charge and inflated each bag consisting of Pacu fish with tons of oxygen and waited for the time of release. About 70 guests arrived from the neighboring indigenous community by boat to attend the ceremony. Around 9:30 a.m., airplanes carrying guests started to arrive at the Leda farm one after another. From Olimpo arrived the mayor of Puerto Olimpo, Mr. Correja, and a group of journalists from the ABC newspaper. Mr. Shin, the president of the Unification Movement in South America, arrived with Mr. Luis Cortés, a cousin of the current national president, who owns the largest beverage company in Paraguay. This is a team of journalists from a TV station called Channel 13, La Nación newspaper, and Paraguay magazine. There were messengers of peace from various fields, such as lawyers and university presidents. Last but not least, former National President His Excellency Franco and the former First Lady, who herself is a member of the Senate, arrived with 2 other members of the House of Representatives. Upon his departure from the previous release ceremony, the former president commented, "I'd like to come back again," and kept that promise by returning to the Leda farm, making this his second visit. The president of a Paraguay association, Mr. Aristides, stood as a presenter and announced the official opening of the second Pacu fish releasing ceremony in the main hall of the International Training Center. First, Mr. Shin Dongmo stood on the podium and delivered his greetings as a representative of the Unification Movement in South America. Mr. Shin mentioned that Reverend Moon personally visited this land 3 times. He decided to send Japanese members, telling them that they must love the people of this land more than the Paraguayans do, and become men with nature-loving minds. Mr. Shin testified that Japanese members took Reverend Moon's words seriously and carried out their missions with all their heart. Following Mr. Shin's speech, Mr. Nakata, the chief of the Leda farm, delivered a progress report on the fisheries project. This is an important source of food and also a vital lifeline for the people living along the coast, with the hope that nurturing and breeding this fish will eventually lead to the protection of the Pantanal itself. We have been working on this Pacu farming project for the past 4 years. Next, Professor Magno of Asunción University presented a report on the incubation technology being performed at the Leda farm. The people of the Leda farm carried out my instructions in a secure, expedited manner. Succeeding in the incubation of Pacu fish here in this land has a great meaning, for it will surely assist in boosting the farming business in the neighboring communities. The former national president, His Excellency Franco, said in his speech, Reverend Moon stated that because the ocean occupies 70% of the Earth's surface area, ocean farming will be the key to curing the humanity's food problem, which will come in the near future. Similarly, I believe that here in the Chaco region, that occupies 62% of Paraguay's land area, but with population of only 2%, is the key to Paraguay's further development from now on. I express my deep gratitude to Reverend Moon for investing in such a remote area and for seeking the way for the individuals of this land to stand on their own 2 feet.
아리가또, 모모리가또, 감사합니다.
The mayor of Puerto Olimpo expressed his gratitude to the FDSANS for investing in the state of Alto Paraguay, which had been abandoned by its own people, and for providing pacu fish to the Cooperative Association of Aquaculture. Finally, Mr. Ino, the chairman of ASD in NSA, made a speech representing the nation of Japan. Through this release ceremony, we hope to advance our movement in making a stronger bond with the neighboring community, the state, and other countries in South America to work together for preserving the natural environment and the development of regional industries. The meeting was concluded with a traditional dance performed by the children of the Diana village. After the meeting, everybody moved to a designated point at the riverside, and the releasing ceremony began, headed by Mr. Sano. First, there was a small ceremony of providing 1,000 pacu fish as a gift to the mayor of Puerto Olimpo. Following that, the former national president, His Excellency Franco, and former First Lady released the first bag of pacu fish into the river. Then, Mr. Shin and other VIPs followed in the same manner. After all the fish were released, the congratulatory lunch party took place, opened by a prayer by His Excellency Franco. Outside of the main cafeteria, Paraguay's traditional beef cuisine, asado, was prepared by the cowboys and served to the guests from the neighboring communities. This barbecue was organized by President Kim of Peace TV, who received a donation from True Mother, telling him that fresh beef cuisine must be served to every single guest that came to the ceremony. At the end of the lunch party, ginseng tea, a traditional ornament from Korea brought by Peace TV, and a gift from Japan was bestowed upon His Excellency Franco and the First Lady. Afterward, commemorative gifts were given to all the other visitors who attended the ceremony. His Excellency Franco, remembering well about the pig farm he visited 1 year ago, had kept a deep desire to show it to his wife and decided to visit the place right before his departure from Leyda. While feeding the pigs, the couple listened enthusiastically to Mr. Nakata about his future vision for the nature kingdom for the pigs. The Leyda farm staff saw the guests off one by one as they took off from the runway. Frozen pacu was given to every guest as they left. The party of His Excellency Franco also implaned, showing great unwillingness to depart from the members of Leyda. The following day, the crew got on a boat before 7 a.m. and headed up to the Diana village, which was located 50 kilometers upstream. On their way to visit a school in the Diana village, the crew made a stop at a house of a woman who used to work at the Leyda farm and interviewed her family. This woman became a church member after working at the Leyda farm and is the first from the indigenous village to receive the blessing. At the school in the Diana village, the crew received a hearty welcome with entertainment by the local children. It was an emotional moment for the crew to listen to the school principal's interview of how much devotion and continuous support the village received from the group sent by Reverend Moon by building new schools so that the children could receive better education. Although the crew from both MBC and Peace TV stayed in Leda for only a few days, they appreciated the great efforts made by the staff of Leda Farm, and without a thought shouted out Okmanse to thank true parents for making this happen. Like the former president, the crew also left a message behind for the staff that they would like to come back again, and flew off to their next destination.